Jai Jinendra, everyone. Pranam. Welcome to our class, Tuesday class. This evening we will be joined by some volunteer teachers from Heartfulness for the next 4 weeks while Ashupai is away. So today's talk will be on the 4 types of Dhyana, and then also there'll be a practice session on relaxation. Today's teachers are going to be Purnima Ben and Nitu Ben. So I will pass over to both of them. Thank you.
Hello, Jai Jinendra. Namaste, Pranam. Nitu Ben is here with me. Nitu, do you want to display the slides before we start? Thank you. So thank you for having us here today, and a warm welcome to all the participants. I'm Purnima and I'm from the Heartfulness Institute, and I'm very happy to be here with all of you. Today we are going to talk about the 4 types of dhyana and the introduction to dhyana in Jainism. And we begin with dhyana because in Jainism, dhyana, I mean, you can go to the first slide, Neetu. Because dhyana is the central tool for liberation. Without dhyana, no amount of rituals or knowledge will be enough for anything. And then we're going to talk about the 4 types of dhyana. And we can think of dhyana, I mean, go to the first slide. Yeah. So, no, I mean, go to the previous slide. So we can think of dhyana as a tool which takes us towards liberation. It is like you can think of this example like no amount of reading any literature or scripture is going to help us. Like no amount of reading about an exercise or reading about the activities that you do in the gym is going to make you healthy. Actually, moving your body does, right? Similarly, listening to sermons or even this session where we talk about all of these 4 types of dharma is not going to actually take us to the stillness or even take us to liberation, which the our Tirthankars have achieved. So actually practicing dhyana does, right? So I would actually want to start this session with asking you a question. When you hear the word meditation or dhyana, what comes to your mind? You can take like 10 to 15 seconds, think about it. You can either put it in the chat window or you can just think about it and keep it for yourself. You could think about, for some of us, the word that comes to our mind could be silence or focus or stress relief or anything else, peace, compassion. So, what comes to your mind when you think about the word dhyana or meditation? Take 10 seconds and let's see what happens. So we'll move on to the next slide. So this is just an activity for ourselves. There's nothing much to it. So these are the 24 Tirthankars. We all know them. And but did we know that each of these 24 Tirthankars, they embodied a quality, they embodied a values. There are some things which stand out in each of their lives. They're not just 24 names we remember from history. They are somebody like, for example, whatever qualities that they achieved were because of the meditation they did under the sacred trees, that is the Diksha Vrikshas. We all know they meditated under trees. So their lives remind us that meditation is not a practice, it's not a tool, it's the very heart of their spiritual journey. For example, if you look at the qualities that Bhagwan Rishabdev, Rishabnath, Adinath, he embodied was he showed us balance in what we try to cultivate when we sit in meditation. He was the perfect epitome of balancing spiritual life and worldly life. As you all know, Rishabh, during his time, I mean, the world went through this drastic shift from Bhoga Bhumi to Karma Bhumi, right? So he was the epitome of balancing the spiritual and the worldly life, where he taught us how to he thought civilization as we know it today. So his life is the perfect example of balance. And when you look at the second Tirthankar, Ajit Nath, he represents victory over anger, greed, pride. All of this is, that's why he's called Ajit Nat, because he got this victory, jeet, over all of these negative qualities. These are the disturbances we try to overcome when we also try to meditate. And Sambhav Nat, for example, he embodied generosity. And generosity is a quality which naturally comes to us when our mind becomes expansive during meditation, when we are able to, when our consciousness expands during meditation. Generosity is a beautiful quality which naturally comes in us. And of course, we all know Bhagwan Mahavir, he symbolized courage, freedom. And freedom is the ultimate fruit of meditation, right? And when the mind is no longer enslaved by any desire, it is truly free. And in that truly free state, we actually feel that maybe we are liberated, right? During the introduction, we mentioned that we are also going to um, practice a relaxation during this first session. So, why are we going to do that is something you might be wondering. Why don't we just have a class where we just learn about um, something about the philosophy or the scriptures from our books, or just the philosophy, or just the tradition, or the faith, or the ritual? So, why are we actually taking 5 or 10 minutes to do this practice called relaxation? Is because we're not just honoring the sages of the past, these 24 wonderful examples of the past. We are actually honoring what they did, and what they did was actually sit and meditate. They lived, their lives embodied these qualities of balance, victory, compassion, peace, courage. And all of these qualities can be imbibed in us when we actually sit down and meditate. And to meditate, the first step is to relax our body, relax our mind, relax our senses, because that is the preparation for the mind we do. And only in that first step of preparation can we actually enter the state where we can sit down and meditate. So even when we sit down and meditate for a few minutes, it is a first step for imbibing these timeless qualities. So I know we did this exercise where I requested that why don't we close our eyes for 1 or 2 minutes and think of what is the quality we are drawn towards when we think of meditation. So if you can go revisit that question and see which quality you are drawn towards, which is it resembling any of these 24 qualities, like the qualities of balance, victory, courage, freedom, generosity, um, any of these 24 qualities. It's just for you to, think and match. Take a moment and match it. Peace, compassion, Neminath, that was his life was, an exemplary example. The 21st Tirthankar, his exemplary example of compassion. So, that's quite interesting actually. So, okay, now we'll go to the next slide if you've already matched. So yeah, so the importance of dhyana. So dhyana is the only way to burn karma and purify our consciousness. The process goes step by step. Like first we have this aspect of attention, paying attention to our heart, contemplation, and then from there we can enter the state of purity, so to speak. So how it works when you have this ekagrata or attention, where you still the mind, restless mind, and then you go to contemplation, or I wouldn't say contemplation, you go to this place where you rest your attention on the heart, and slowly it leads to a state where distractions dissolve, where your thoughts just pause. And we all know these three jewels, right? Right faith, right knowledge, and right conduct. So without these three jewels, meditation can actually become an escapism or fantasy. Why? So how does these three jewels help us? Because right faith gives us sincerity, and sincerity is a very necessary tool to have if you actually have to meditate every day, meditate maybe half an hour, 15 minutes, 10 minutes, slowly increase it to 1 hour. So faith gives us sincerity in doing this practice, and right knowledge. Right knowledge gives us clarity, and without clarity and without knowing how to meditate and without knowing what is the right way to meditate, how to meditate, this clarity is very needed. I mean, to meditate properly. And then right conduct. So this right conduct keeps us aligned in our daily life. Without right conduct, I mean, to sit down and meditate is like a hypocrisy, right? So, I mean, I leave it at that. So these three jewels is very essential to understand and imbibe to actually sit down and meditate effectively. So let me ask you a question. Have any of you tried meditating when you were upset or when you were dishonest with yourself or when you were not in the right frame of mind? What happens? So it's just a question for yes, I would be able to send these slides to you. Yes, after the session, perhaps. Yeah. So my question to you is, have you ever tried meditating when you were upset or dishonest with yourself, or if you were not in the right state of mind, when you were sad or when you were, unhappy? What happens to you, right? And now compare that to a time when your heart felt clear, sincere, you were in this complete attention, ekagrita, and how was your experience of meditation? Have you thought about that? So that's just that's just something that's just a um, um, food for thought. So in these two states, when we try to meditate, how does it feel? It's just for us to try and experience and observe. So in meditation, like, okay, the next slide, please. Yeah. So, briefly, there are four types of dhyana, and I'll go through all of these four types, and then I'll also talk about the actual meaning of dhyana. So, briefly, not all meditation is equal. Jainism clearly distinguishes that there are four types of dhyana: Artha dhyana, Raudra dhyana, Dharma dhyana, and Shukla dhyana. So Artha Dhyana is dwelling on desires, Raudra Dhyana is dwelling on these negative or harmful qualities like anger or greed or all negativities basically. Dharma Dhyana is slightly above these two, which is dwelling on virtues and dwelling on values and principles. And then Shukla Dhyana is the highest form of dhyana where we are pure awareness, pure bliss. We move beyond likes, dislikes. We are having the potential to enter into a state of stillness. The mind is free from clutter. And this has the potential to directly take us to liberation. So this is the highest form of dhyana. And then we'll go through all of this in detail in the subsequent few minutes. So the next slide. Okay, Artha Dhyana. So this is very interesting because this is something which happens to all of us during our wakeful moments, right? Meditation on objects of desire is Artha Dhyana. Artha means objects or possessions. Artha dhyana is when the mind is constantly absorbed in it's absorbed in what we want, like money, success, recognition, comfort. It doesn't mean that we shouldn't care about these things or we shouldn't want these things or these shouldn't come to us. It doesn't mean that, but it just means that when you sit down and meditate, these are not the things perhaps that should come into our consciousness. Perhaps these are things which are needed for our life to be good and comfortable so that we reach our highest goal. But when this starts becoming wishes and desires to cling on to, then I think there is a trouble. We need to revisit why these things keep coming again and again for 12 to 24 hours in our consciousness. Like, let me give you an example. Like, if there is a student who's constantly replaying an exam stress again and again in his head, or a professional an IT professional or anybody who's constantly worried about sales, salary, promotions, or even youngsters constantly obsessed about social media likes and social media. Um, these are just the kind of mental occupation which seems natural. It seems natural because today this is the new normal, right? So it seems natural because it's the new normal, but it actually reinforces an attachment, an obsession which keeps the mind restless. It's not that these are not necessary, it's that this should not make the mind restless. That's what Artha Dhyana is, that when the mind becomes restless, when we actually start meditating on these objects of desire, then the problem starts. So I would like you to think about this. What happens to you when you're alone? Where does your mind naturally drift? Do you notice it circling around certain things or certain outcomes or certain worries? Where does your mind naturally move to when you are alone or when you have nothing to think about? Like, does it keep replaying your worries for the future? Does it keep replaying your anxiety? Or does your mind naturally rest in a state of peace when you have nothing to do or when you are, just with yourself? So just take a moment and think about it. Okay, so we'll go to the next slide, Raudra Dhyan. Thank you. So in Raudra Dhyan, we actually meditate on anger or greed or cruelty or violence. It doesn't mean that we are meditating actually on a violent thing. It just means that the mind is dwelling on things which are not conducive to peace, which are not helping us mentally. The mental state is in a very um is in a very unpeace or state of suppose, for example, say, this example will come home. It's like you had a heated argument with a friend and you keep on imagining, oh, I should have said this, he should have said this, she should have done this, or, excuse me, or you have a workplace jealousy, you're secretly wishing someone else's project should fail, or you are having this very bad road rage, or you're mentally insulting somebody, or, these are a few examples where it's a mental violence, I would say, but it seems a very harsh thing to say, but this happens all the time to us. We are there are a couple of moments in our everyday life where all of these things come into our mind, and dhyana is just this, right? It's a contemplation. It's what we keep thinking about repeatedly. So externally, probably you would put an end to your fight with your friend, or you would we would all behave in a very courteous way or with etiquette, but internally what goes on within us, it may be difficult or it may be possible, but if we keep carrying the poison, or if we keep carrying the emotions long after things are over, it leads to Raudra Dhyan, because these emotions or these, so to speak, poison is what causes us to cling on to the negative things repeatedly. So think about moments where you have replayed a conflict again and again in your mind. That's the very simplest thing. Every one of us would have done it. We don't have to be greedy. We don't have to have qualities like jealousy. We don't have to have anger on people. But the most common thing which we all are caught doing is we can replay a conflict again and again in our head. We can replay moments of unpleasant moments in our mind again and again. Uh, this is the most basic example where every one of us are guilty of practicing Raudra Dhyan, that we have this unpleasantness which we remember. So does it hurt only us, or does it hurt the other person too? That's kind of like I leave it there. But Raudra Dhyan, it strengthens negative tendencies, it reinforces karma, and it's like watering these seeds and they grow stronger and stronger. So if you have to show compassion to yourself, you have to stop practicing Raudra Dhyan. And okay, now I'll go on to Dharma Dhyan. The next slide. Okay, thanks.
Sorry, Purnima, just before you move on to Dharma, Sandip's got a question. He's asking, is worrying about other people about Artha Dhyan?
Okay. So what is the question?
Is worrying about other
About other
people?
people. Worrying about anything is Artha Dhyan. In the sense, worrying which causes a negative emotional baggage to be to cling on to us. Worrying in the sense, if the worry is going to lead on to more anxiety, that's Raudra Dhyan. But if the worry is just a path for something higher and nobler and purer, where it leads on to probably do some charity, or it leads on to show compassion, that's just a moment. That's not something which can really harm us. That's something which is going to help us. So that's the difference between Raudra Dhyan and Dharma Dhyan. So Dharma Dhyan leads on to virtues. And if one moment of Artha Dhyan, Raudra Dhyan is going to lead on to, oh, you asked about Artha Dhyan. Is worrying about other people Artha Dhyan?
Yeah.
No. Worrying about acquiring possessions for ourselves, or worrying about um, clinging on to, basically artha is possessions or objects. So acquiring or obsessing about acquiring these objects of desire is artha dhyan. I hope that answered the question.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. I'm sorry, I was just focusing on Raudra Dhyan, and I thought your question was about Raudra Dhyan rather than Artha Dhyan. Okay, so leading on, going on to Dharma Dhyan. So if our worry can actually help us in a way to lead us on to virtues, this is a very good place to be actually. So Dharma Dhyan is a turning point. It's a reflection on higher truths like virtues, dharmic principles like honesty or non-violence, compassion, and like we had these contemplative questions during Raudra Dhyan about replaying hurt, replaying incidents. But instead, if that could be slightly channeled into, could I have responded with more kindness? Or how can I live with more integrity at work? Or how can I perform better? If that kind of shift in the mindset can come to us, it's probably a step towards Dharma Dhyan. Pausing before a reflective decision, reflecting on fairness, reflecting on kindness. And to be honest, this is not an abstract philosophy. It's not something just to talk about. It's a mental habit of aligning our thoughts and ideas with more valued and principled way of life. And the more we reflect this way, the more naturally our actions will be purer, our intentions will be honest, and we'll have the correct thinking and right understanding to life. We'll have an honest approach to life. So there is a possibility where we can shift our Raudra Dhyan to actually Dharma Dhyan. And I would like to, put this out there, that think of a time when you reflected after a mistake. Did that reflection make you want to act differently next time? I'm sure all of us have gone through, whether we admit it or not, we've all admitted at least to ourselves that we could have made this mistake, and perhaps next time I don't want to do this, or perhaps next time I want to act differently. So what values do you reach out to most often? Is it compassion or honesty or patience? Sometimes we ponder about the meaning of life, purpose of life. Those are just a little bit higher in and the next step in Dharma Dhyan. Um, so Dharma Dhyan is a step towards um, contemplation of the mind, where it can allow our thoughts to turn into our teacher. And reflection and honest actions, these are keys to transformation, because contemplation is the only tool for actually expansion of our mind, right? So that is Dharma Dhyan. And now Shukla Dhyan, it's meditation on purity. The next slide. Yeah, thank you. So, Shukla means basically white or pure or spotless. And it is the highest meditation, pure awareness, pure consciousness, beyond likes and dislikes, beyond desires and aversion, beyond qualities, beyond. The mind is not chasing, the mind is not resisting. It is simply still. It's simply luminous. The mind is illuminated, and the heart is most soft and tender. So, before we reach that stage, there are so many states where, like through Shukla Dhyan, let me give you an example. You may know that sometimes athletes describe this state of being in the zone, complete absorption without any distraction. They have this complete absorption or complete focus where they just visualize their victory and go and just win it. Or sometimes artists and musicians, they say that they lose themselves in pure flow. They call themselves, they claim that they are in a state of flow. This is another example. Sometimes in our own deep meditations, all thoughts just fall silent and there is only pure awareness that remains. So these are all examples where it's possible for us to, these are steps which can take us to the highest, where our mind is completely still and our heart is most tender. So it's really possible. So this state helps us to free ourselves from attachment, from craving, from inner noise, and it has the potential to help us reach liberation. Um, yeah, so Shukla Dhyan, it's I wouldn't say it is rare, but I would say it requires effort, and even glimpses can lead us to great transformative steps. Every step we take from anywhere in our life to reach to this state of Shukla or purity, it's really worth uh, it's really worth pursuing. And now I'll go on to actually what it means, what the word dhyana means in the next slide. So, so in this book that I've referred to, like written by Daji, called it's a book called Holy Tirthankars by Daji. So there is this beautiful, um, he says dhyana is D plus yana. So there is this literal explanation that he gives. D means intellect or higher wisdom, or it's the epitome of the highest knowledge that we have, or intuition. And yana means vehicle or movement. So meditation is the vehicle, or it's the tool that takes us towards this ultimate reality or the highest wisdom or the highest intuition. So the yana, meditation means, dhyana means that which takes you to the highest intuitive wisdom or the ultimate reality. So I would like to call it something like Google Maps. Your intuition or your highest wisdom is the map, and the vehicle you need to actually travel to this place is like your car. It's actually the practice of meditation. And among these four types of dhyana, Shukla dhyana is probably the only vehicle that can take us all the way to this highest state of meditation. So pure meditation can lead us to liberation if we cooperate, and it to help us free us from desires. And which makes me want to ask, um, think of think of your own mental vehicle. Where would your mental vehicle take you? Where would my mental vehicle take me? What is the mental vehicle that I have? Will it take me towards stress, towards high values, towards clarity? Will my mental vehicle take me towards the highest bliss? So what is my mental vehicle? So I would like for you to think of this. And is worrying about your health, Artadhyana? So, yeah, no, I mean, why would you want to worry about your health? If your health is fine, that's fine. If your health is needs attention, give the attention it needs. There is no need to worry, right? Like if it needs attention in the positive direction, where perhaps if you need to improve your dietary styles, if you need to go to the gym, it's something you just do, because we should take care of our health. Or if it needs medical intervention, where we have to visit a medical practitioner, we should actually do it. Worrying will never help us with anything. We just have to act. And to act, we need a very clear mind. We need a very calm disposition, because the best decisions come only in calmness and in clarity. And for all of this, we again need to use the tool of meditation. So, yeah, so it's not that your question is, it's not that it's Artha Dhyan, but worrying is really not something we want to do. Yes, we need to be concerned about our health and take care of ourselves, but not worry about it. Um, yeah, so Dhyana, this is Dhyana. Highest wisdom, highest intellect, highest intuition, and Dhyana is the vehicle. And I would like to call this as intuition as Google Maps, and which is my destination, and my car or my vehicle is probably meditation. And okay, the next slide, Neetu. So if you are all willing to, you can answer in the chat box. It would be helpful for you, for me, for all of us, as we are all sitting together in a group. Which type of dhyana do we all fall into most often? I mean, if you don't want to put it in the chat box, that's okay. But be honest with yourself. I'm going to be honest with myself. Sometimes it's Dharma Dhyan, sometimes it's Shukla Dhyan for me. I wouldn't always fall into the category of Shukla Dhyan, because we are all still on the journey, right? Like sometimes I think about values and qualities and what is the purpose of my life and so on. So sometimes it's also Artha Dhyan, because, oh, I have to acquire this, I have to attend a wedding. Am I going to wear yellow or maroon? And that is also there. But not dwelling on it for like 24 hours a day, but some amount of time we do spend on things. So, but what is the majority of time that we spend on? Which dhyana do we spend it on? The often things. Yeah, Artha Dhyan is uh, very common. Sometimes Raudya Dhyan, yeah. So thank you for being honest, and thank you for sharing that. So my next question would be, when you notice yourself in Artha Dhyan or Raudra Dhyan, what helps you to shift? If you are intending to shift, that is, do you pause? Do you breathe? Do you talk to a friend, or do you do journaling? Like, for example, sometimes when we are in a very deep state of Raudra Dhyan, journaling could help. It's known to help if we are anxious or worried, right? So is there something you do, or should we, do you not do anything? So these are just questions to help us for the next stage of what we are going to do. So what do you generally do when you, yeah, thank you, Dina. She says Rauda Dhyan. Yeah, sometimes Dharma Dhyan too. Yeah. So what would you do when you when you are in these states? How do you help yourself shift? It could be meditation, it could be prayer, it could be just a moment of reflection. Whatever it is for you, just make note of it. Listen to, okay, lectures. Yeah. Yeah, that's a thank you for sharing that. Okay. So this leads me on to the next slide, where I would like to say how see, in Jainism, every Tirthankar attained liberation through meditation. all of them meditated. All the 24 Tirthankars, they actually meditated sitting under the trees. Like there are different trees they sat under. How did they prepare themselves for such a deep state of dhyana? They first purified their body, mind, they took vows, they had intense discipline, they had a lot of calming practices. Relaxation plays that same role for us today. Today, in our current lifestyle, uh, we may not be able to afford to take strong vows, uh, leading grahastha life with family and with having to provide for our families and earning a decent amount of. We need to have certain amount of wealth and position to have a comfortable life also. So, what are the steps that can help us to attain liberation, like the Tirthankars? The first step is relaxation. And if we are able to meditate, I mean, we are not able to meditate with a restless mind or a tense body, right? The moment we sit down, we are flooded with thoughts. Did I send that email? What should I be cooking for dinner? My leg hurts, my back hurts. Um, Later we'll be talking about the principles of samvara and nirjara, that is stopping the inflow of karma and clearing the impression before the real meditation can begin. But for today, we'll keep it very simple and we'll just talk about relaxation. And we'll actually go through relaxation because it's a very practical way to prepare ourselves for meditation. It releases the tension from the body so that the body doesn't disturb us when we sit down to meditate. It slows down the breath, it calms the mind, it helps us turn inwards without any force on the mind. Suppose, when you sit down and think, I have to meditate, I have to meditate, I have to meditate, that is not really actually meditation. That's thinking. Thinking about wanting to meditate is not actually meditating, right? Have you thought about that? Actually, meditating is not thinking about meditating. So, relaxation is something which is going to calm down your mind. And I don't mean it's going to stop you from thinking because clarity emerges through thought, but it settles your mind from a state of restlessness to a state of calmness where you gradually shift into this silent, still place. And Dhyana is about moving from from a state of Raudra and Artha towards a state of Dharma and subsequently Shukla, right? But this shift can be made when we are not restless and when we are not distracted. So, relaxation is that clearing the dust from a mirror before you actually try to see the reflection. It doesn't replace meditation. Relaxation doesn't replace meditation, it actually makes meditation possible. So today we are going to practice this relaxation, and tomorrow, the next week, we are going to actually sit and meditate. And before that, we will, yeah. So the next week's session, you all know it. We'll talk about it next week. So now I would like to stop talking and actually give you the experience of relaxation for a few minutes. And then if you feel like we can have any interaction um, or any questions, we can do that in the last few minutes. But for now, we will actually go through the simple technique to let go of the tension in our bodies, to calm our breath and prepare our mind for a higher state, which is the state of dhyana. Okay, so sit down comfortably wherever you are. Sit. If you want to recline, please recline. If you want a cushion, go grab a cushion and just sit comfortably in a state. I don't mean sit in Padmasana, or I don't mean fold your legs or keep your legs down or keep your hands like this. I don't even request that you keep your hands in any mudras. I just mean just sit comfortably and in a relaxed state where your body is not going to trouble you. So after you sit comfortably, gently close your eyes. Gently close your eyes and follow my voice. Let's begin from the toes. Gently wiggle your toes and feel them relaxed. Relax your feet and allow an energy from Mother Earth to rise up and relax your feet. And as this energy rises up and moves through your legs, it relaxes your calf muscles. This energy moves up and relaxes your knees, moves up and relaxes your thighs. Feel this energy moving up from your legs, and as it reaches your hips are also gently relaxed. This energy from Mother Earth moves up and relaxes your stomach, your intestines, and it keeps moving up. It's also relaxing your lower back and gently moves up, relaxes your upper back, and your whole back is completely relaxed now. This energy moves up and slowly relaxes your chest area, where your heart is, your shoulders, and it flows through both your arms, your forearms, elbows, wrist, palm, fingers, fingertips. It oozes out of your fingertips. Feel your arms completely relaxed. Feel this energy from Mother Earth to continue to relax your neck, muscles in your shoulders, neck, and it is smoothing, dissolving all the tensions in the muscles in your neck. Slowly goes up. It relaxes the muscles in your face, your jaw, your chin, your cheeks, lips, nose, eyes, forehead, your ears, till the tip of your head. All parts of your body are completely relaxed right now. Take a few moments to scan your whole body. Do you feel your whole body completely relaxed? If you feel any part of your body needs to be relaxed, allow this energy to flow to that part of the body, and may that part be completely relaxed. As your body settles down, as your body winds down into this extremely relaxed state, gently bring your attention to your heart. There is a source of light in your heart, and this source of light is attracting you deep within. It's it's facilitating you to meditate deeply and feel the light in your heart. Just sit in this state where you feel this light attracting you, drawing you deep into your heart for a few minutes. Let's continue to meditate this way for just a few minutes. If other thoughts interrupt you, gently brush them away and remind yourself that you're meditating on this source of light in your heart until I bring you out of it. Please continue. Gently open your eyes when you feel ready to do it. How do you feel? This is just for yourself. You don't have to say if you don't want to. This is just for yourself to assess. You can try to feel how your heart is. How do you feel? Do you feel at peace? Do you feel content? Or did your daily life and thoughts come in very relaxed and peaceful? Thank you. So, this is just the first step which can lead us on to meditation. And in the next session, we'll be actually meditating a lot together. And yeah, so very relaxed, just focused, followed your voice. Okay, thank you. So maybe, yeah, so that is all we have for today. You can need to go to the next few slides. I think I Neetu, are you here? Yeah, so we just had today we just talked about the types of dhyana, and Shukla Dhyan is probably the highest type of dhyan. And next week we are going to actually do dhyan, and the first step for that is relaxation, which we did today. And just for the sake of integrity, in the next slide, I've used the content for today's presentation from this book. Yeah, this is the book from which I used today's presentation. This is just for the sake of being being honest about it. Yeah, if you are interested, you are welcome to purchase it, but otherwise, it's up to you totally. Thank you, Neetu. You can unshare the deck. Thanks.
Thank you, Purnima. Does anyone have any questions for Purnima? Ben, if you have, please raise your hand or ask it in the chat.
I think people are in a meditative state, and if you have questions, you can WhatsApp it to us. The organizers know our contact details, and or you can ask us in the next week's session also. I wouldn't. I mean, I don't want to disturb your meditative state. You can just rest and. What happens if other thoughts creep in your mind? This is something we are going to avoid. In the third session, we are going to talk about a tool called or a practice called rejuvenation, which is something which can help us overcome this. But for now, you can try meditating every day for a few minutes in the morning. And if other thoughts come, just brush them away and remind yourself that you're meditating on the light in your heart. You're meditating on the purity in your heart. For now, just remind yourself whenever you're able to remind yourself, whenever you remember that, oh, I'm supposed to meditate, I'm not supposed to think of my worries and anxieties. It's something we'll definitely suddenly remember. And at that time, just bring your attention back. But we will go over a process called rejuvenation in the third week. And I think things will be much clearer and you can avoid thoughts. And even if they do come, you'll be able to handle them better. So that's something we'll do that too.
That sounds good.
Okay. Thank you so much for having all of us. Tejal, Neetu, if you would like to share something, or we can all drop off.
No, all good, Purnima. Thank you.
Thank you, Tejal.
Okay, in that case, we can end the lesson for tonight, and we will see you next week. So thank you very much, Purnima, Ben, Nitu, and Tejal, and we will see everyone back next week.
Thanks to
Thank
you and
you.
all the organizers. Thank you so much.
Thank you.